Hey everybody, Hostron here with part 2 of our deck building video where we're building the non-aligned deck. This is what we've accomplished so far. Again, this is part 2, so if you want to see how we got to this point, go see part 1. Quick little shout out here. So since I recorded the first part of the video last night, I've been in communication with another Star Trek First Edition content creator, um, the guys behind Snack Trek. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give a shout out. If you haven't watched any of their videos here, they're pretty good. They have much better production values than me. I am not the most technically savvy person in the world, and so I tend to keep things simple and straightforward and just kind of get to the meat. Other people are so much better at putting all the bells and whistles and things, and these guys do a good job of that. I've been in communication with them. We want to do a little cross-channel promotion here. So what we settled on is I'm building this deck, this two-part deck building video, and what's going to happen is after I get this deck built, I'm going to reach out to the guys over at Snack Trek. I'm going to provide them with the private share link to the deck so that they can then copy it, and then they're going to play a game with it. So you're watching my videos here, part 1, part 2 of building the deck, and then after you finish watching part 2 of this video, this part 2 part, go over to Snack Trek and watch them actually put the deck through its paces in a live fire situation. Now that said, part of this part 2 video is after we sort of get a deck list built, we're going to import it into Lackey, and we're going to go ahead and do a quick little fishbowl with it just to make sure that we're not completely screwed up on things that we are doing with it. Anytime you build a deck in first edition, you're going to need to fishbowl it a couple of times to try to catch things. And even the fishbowling doesn't catch everything because of the problem of confirmation bias and perspective bias. You put something in the deck because you think it works, and it becomes very easy to, when you're fishbowling it, just make the assumption that it works. And so that's the reason why you still play test. That's why you still find a friend and you actually play test games like you've been watching on this channel. If you've seen my previous gameplay videos, you know, every one of those decks had never been in a live fire situation until that game. And in live fire situations where you put a deck under real stress, that's where you find the little mistakes that you may have made in your deck building process. But I would highly recommend, this is your Coach Jaeger tip of the day. Your Coach Kevin tip of the day is, after you build your deck, put it in a Lackey or build it the physical thing. You know, if you're building a physical version of it, do some fishbowl games where you're basically just, you have essentially a ghost skeleton opponent, and you basically just, you know, you set up as if you went through a seed phase, and then you draw your 7, and you play out the first like 4 or 5 turns, assuming that your opponent's not messing with you, you know, that you're just playing people out and going to missions and making attempts, quote unquote, and then giving yourself fake situations. It's just a way to make sure that the mechanics of the deck work and that your deck is going to do what you think it's going to do. Fishbowling is also at an advanced level. It's a great way to create fictional situations for the deck where you put the deck under stress for a situation that you might think that you would see in the tournament that you're planning on going to. I do that a lot. I get very deep into that when I get ready for nationals and continentals and worlds level events. A lot of people comment on how I knew. I played a lot of games at major tournaments where, you know, my opponents have commented about how quickly I was able to identify a situation and just do, you know, crazy things. And it really always comes back down to just the preparation of actually theorizing the situation and then actually figuring out how I would do it before I would ever actually sit down and play a real game. So that's your Coach K advice for the video. All right. So in the time since we did the first video, we got to, you know, like this level here. We've got essentially a draw deck that's built for the most part. We have 5 missions that we have selected as our essentially our primary 5. We have 1 mission slot for quote unquote meta or fun purposes, and then we have essentially the thing that the deck is doing, which is we are going to play Sona and Baku for free at Insurrection. We're going to set up a duck blind at Insurrection. We are going to also get free non-aligned VIPs and civilians with War Council, who will also then be Cunning +2. They will, of course, get standard attack restrictions. So they will not be able to attack other non-aligned forces. And then we have cybernetics expertise in order to play some androids for free once we get cybernetics into play. And our plan for right now is we're going to get Dr. Roger Corby into play as quickly as we can via recruit mercenaries. Our first recruit mercenaries that we will draw and play, our beginning plan is we're going to go get we'll probably get Shobihar, and then also Dr. Roger Corby is our 7 skill dots, and then during the opponent's turn, Shobihar will download Dinesh as our first Orion Slate Girl. That way we get essentially some additional free plays. And so, I mean, as it is right now, this deck is just free play, free play, free play. It's free plays everywhere. We only have a couple of cards in the deck that are not free plays. And it's basically the Traveler. No, he's VIP, never mind. I think that the deck then might be 100% possible free plays. Because yeah, even lore. I mean, lore counts in both directions as both an non-aligned civilian and also as an android potentially. So, you know, like we've double checked our skill box here, our skill matrix so far. We have all the anthropology, archaeology we would need. We got up to our 5 astrophysics. We got all the biology and computer skill we could ever want. We got plenty of diplomacy. We've got some empathy in the deck. 12 engineers is more than enough to deal with scows and whatnot. 6 exobiology for misinterpreted history, DNA clues, etc. 3 geology to try to get past rock people if we absolutely needed to. Our 5 honor, and then we have 12 leadership for dealing with a variety of things. 7 medical in order to deal with potentially medical drain and whatnot. And then, of course, we have 8 nav and 7 officers. And at least, and I went through the deck, and 5 of those officers have strength greater than 5, so we have plenty to deal with Maglock. 4 physics is all you really need. And we have 8 and 7 of science and security in order to deal with that sort of thing. And then the bare minimum 3 stellar cartography for the 1 random time that you would need it. 5 transporter skill. It's a good, solid, healthy amount to deal with Ghost of Cyrus Ramsey. And of course, VIPs and youths. Youth is actually relevant in this deck for the Traveler. You have 3 copies of Youth in order to bounce around the space line a little bit. Now, we decided we needed to do a battle bridge door so that we can blow up the Shellyak with Obsession for 15 bonus points because it is printed range plus weapons. So we blow up the Shellyak for 15 bonus points, and then we also decided that we have the option in the deck of either or both. We can seed more self-controlling dilemmas for the opponent to trigger for us to flip, and then we hunt those down. And then we also have the ability to send Dr. Tolian Soren to the Nexus. If we do that, we're going to have to devote another seed slot to the Nexus, and then it's a question of, do we want to have it be a stealth seed, or do we want to take our chances and have it be something that we seed under the opponent's mission? We'll get to that point. Our early plan, our turn 1 plan so far, again, just to recap everything, is that we are going to space door for a universal ship to get Excalbian Green and Yarnak over to Insurrection and have them beam down and do Duck Blind, because our first turn personnel download will always be either Gallatin or Ruafo, whichever one we don't get. Gallatin's primary because of the fact that he then creates the second Anthro, unless we happen to draw an Anthro and be able to free play it. So there's it's just one of those things where, like, you know, what we know that we need is an Anthro on the opening turn. If we get it in our hand that we can play for free, then we know that we're free just to go ahead and get Ruafo for a double treachery, so that we get our War Council going for turn 2 potentially. And then, of course, all dependent on Recruit Mercenaries and how much Recruit Mercenaries we need to do, because Recruit Mercenaries is our highly likely second turn card play for us to get that going as well. So basically, War Council is kind of most likely going to end up being our turn 3 hand reload or a turn 4 hand reload, or both. So, yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. As I tried to go to bed, and of course, as I had break time today at work, I realized as I was thinking about this and what we're going to do going forward, the ships that we have in the deck right now, the 3-6 battleships, we have no way of staffing them turn 1. So we are going to go ahead, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to pull a Sona battleship out, and we are going to put in a Flaxian scout vessel, just a non-aligned ship, because I did look through the list here real quick, and it's a non-aligned universal ship that has no staffing requirements. So, and all we needed to do is just, because we're gonna seed our neutral outpost right next to Insurrection, so all we need is like the 4-span anyway, you know. So the Flaxian scout vessel is the answer. We could theoretically go with a Sona shuttle, but it's -3 unless we have a Sona and crew, in which case it only has 2 range, so that seemed like a very bad idea. So, Flaxian scout vessel it is, so the Flaxian scout vessel's in the deck, and that's most likely going to be our flip for ship on Space Door. All right. We had some interesting things that we've done here. We have Intuition via Masarda as a potential additional card draw. And then we also have Vosh in the deck. She is actually like our one like hard card play, I believe. But she gets us dig to buy our way out of problems if we absolutely need to. If we need to recover a very particular skill. And then we're going with Tempora Micro Wormhole to get Space-Time Portal, so that we can, in a pinch, bounce our Injector Assembly 1 should it ever get into danger. Because we are planning on trying to win the game by solving Insurrection and a space mission. And most likely it's going to be a situation where we're going to end up just bouncing off a dead end at the planet, and then after we've bounced off the dead end at planet, we go to space, we complete space, and then we come back and we try to blast our way to the Baku planet for the win. And of course, in the middle of that, we've done obsession shooting and/or Tolian Sorin hunting, Nexus hunting. So we have Kess as a potential if we just feel like it's a good thing to do. She can be downloaded via recruit mercenaries, and then she provides us a gift bug out in space if we feel like we need it. And yeah, and then otherwise we just have things that get downloaded. So we decided to go with, in the Battle Bridge side deck, Ancillary Bursts, because we have pretty much just son of battleships in less areas that are going to be firing. And it does reduce range, because the whole point's going to be that once we shoot the Shellyak once, we will then, between Isolated Burst and target warfield coils, there's no chance that of failing on our objective, which is to turn the Shellyack's range into 0, so then the Shellyak are literally stuck. So as long as we shoot them once, we're not committed to having to shoot them immediately or run a ship around to chase them. They sit there, and then we can just shoot them at our leisure for the win. And the same then would go for pretty much anything else that we would face. So now, again, so let's just go ahead and get to it. One of the things that we kind of decided that we were going to do vis-a-vis dilemmas is that we are going to we're going to put in the Nexus, and then it'll just be a question of whether or not we decide to self-seed it or we decide to seed it in our opponent's mission. So the Nexus goes in for sure. We put Lore in the deck to double crystalline entities. Since he's in the deck, we might as well go with it. It's fun. So we'll put a couple of crystalline entities. I wonder if it's the crystalline entity here. I believe it is, isn't it? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Crystalline entity. And then, I don't really think there's anything else that gets triggered. Anything else that we could potentially run with that's fun. So then, it's just, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We are going to have one objective into play, and that's it. Like, we're going to have, and then maybe collect metaphasic particles is going to hit the table real fast. If we were doing assigned mission specialist, we would get to 3 that we could rely on, and we could think about doing Temptations of the Flesh. But that doesn't seem very likely. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a very likely thing to do. Could have been something fun we could do to set things up, but we're not going to do that because it's just not going to be reliable enough. So, you know, we have a lot of options we could do. We could just be silly and we could just do a bunch of random stuff. We could just decide, hey, let's run things that are fast. Let's run things that blow them up. We could just drain. We could just stall. We could just run nothing but the good things. What I like, since we're going to try to do this as a 2-mission win, and we're going to have we're going to need a little bit of time for like Obsession and, you know, possibly the Nexus and stuff to get there, to come to us, to give us a chance to do it. What we're going to have to do, I think, is probably play just a lot of stall, just whatever we can feel like we can do to stall. So I think we are going to run the crystalline entities in space because they're just better in space. I don't like them on a planet unless we decide that we're going to be crazy and try to nuke an opponent somehow. But when you double the crystalline entity, all you have to do is have double science and double medical on a planet. Whereas in space, they need to have shields greater than 12. That's the more likely thing for them not to have. Because, I mean, double music, you know, that's totally random, so we don't worry about that. Typically, you're going to see crystalline entities in space. And so then it becomes a question of, do you want to set them up, force the opponent to go big and kill a lot of people? I kind of like that idea. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to run 2 space combos. They're going to be the exact same for both. We want to kill and we want to stall. So we're going to do this. We're going to do Thasian powers into crystalline entity into Cytherians to really kind of put the opponent's people into a bind in space. So it's going to take, you know, multiple ships and quite a few people to get through in space. And then that might, depending on how just the game situation is, we might actually quantum slipstream or traveler in one of our ships and shoot it, and then also just kind of put pressure on the opponent that way as well. And then, of course, the reality is that Thasian powers, even if then the crystalline entity fails for some odd reason, that's a lot of people going on a Cytherian trip, because the Thasian powers are quite a bit of an investment to begin with. And then, of course, Thasian powers isn't gonna tip our hand as to what's behind it. We're also not necessarily committed to having just 3-card combos across the board right now. What we could theoretically do is execute my strategy that I've employed for many years, that people are used to seeing me do at this point. It's not a real trade secret at this point, but I kind of like the and you've seen Chris and I do this in the game that we played that was recorded, where you see one dilemma under a mission that you just are positive your opponent's never going to get to because it's at the end of a space line, or it's away from their obvious starting location, or they have to come across your face to go get to it, and they're just not going to do that because they know that you can shoot them, and so they're not going to spend the time doing it probably. And so I kind of like that idea, and so there's the possibility that we're going to end up putting in on just another couple of walls in something that can go behind the Cytherians in space. And, you know, with 18 dilemmas, we can theoretically, we can go 4 4-card combos and a pair of 1 combos, or 3 4-card combos, 3 4-card combos, a 3-card combo, a 2 and a 1, and we can have the 2-card combo basically just be Edo Probe, Beige, because that's popular and it's good right now, and the Dead End sits by itself. And the truth is that we'll always kind of plan for the Edo Probe, and the 2-card combo and the Planet combo will just always kind of be like in our general area where like Insurrection's at, because, you know, our opponent's not going to probably get too close to us. Most likely. I don't know. We have options, but this is where we're going to start. For Planet, I mean, if we're thinking that Cytherians, you know, Thasian into crystalline entity is what we're doing here, and we're keeping our opponent's personnel very busy with that, or, you know, busy dying or busy going on very long Cytherian strips. The other thing we could do is we could kind of employ maybe the same tactic on Planet, and we could just either try to kill a lot of people or keep them very busy. Wipeouts are kind of hard to accomplish, but I mean, we could theoretically do it, I guess. You know, if we had a seed slot back, we could get silly and we could run Shades of Grey Brutality and try to wipe our opponent out with Barclay's Protomorphosis diseases on the planet or something. But yeah, I don't really think that we have that option. What we should probably focus on doing on Planet is we should just try to sneak in some more of the self-controlling ships, self-controlling dilemmas. so that we can kind of maybe litter the space line a little bit and give ourselves a more reliable 2-mission win. All right, so that was right here. We could go with Dicronium Cloud Creature. We're super confident that we can get to the 13 weapons that we need for Dicronium Cloud Creature. Again, killing the Dicronium Cloud Creature basically means that we're gonna have to we're gonna have to shoot it and blow it up all at one time, like in one time. It's gonna take 2 ships, and we're gonna have to blow it up so that we get our 16 points and move on with our life. The only problem with that Dicronium Cloud Creature is we come up short on points because it's only going to give us 16. It's going to give us 6 here plus 10 here. And so it kind of comes up short. So, but it does kill our opponents. It's going to kill our opponent's personnel pretty reliably. The other thing is that's pretty much all it does. So whatever we put with a Dicronium Cloud Creature, it has to be pretty good because it's not going to get the job done otherwise. Beta 12A Entity was very intriguing when in the recorded game, in the TOS matchup game, or the TOS mirror match game. It's very interesting if your opponent faces it at a wrong moment. If they face it at a moment, a lot of other moments, it's worthless. So, and of course, the 2 strongest people, if they battle each other and they're both the same strength, then nothing happens. They tie, no one dies. Space Amoeba combos are great. We could go Buried Alive into Space Amoeba into something nasty as one of our planet combos. Everyone's listened to my conversations about how much I think Buried Alive is a very, very good dilemma, and how it sets a lot of things up, and you can make it as unpredictable as you want it to make it. We could run just another Shellyak, and we could try to do the whole Shellyak thing where we do a bunch of dumb math. we do a bunch of dumb math to see if we can get it to hit, I guess. I don't know. Assimilated Vessel only gets us, it's either going to get us just 10 points if we can't shoot it. It's only going to get us 13 points if we do. I'm kind of back to just thinking that we need to go with Spaceborne Entity. We can run a Spaceborne Entity combo at Planet or Duel, and then we can run the and then we can run the Space Amoeba at the other thing. So other possibility is that the Spaceborne Entity can be the thing that goes at the combo instead of Space Amoeba because then that way it's at a planet, we force a ship to be there. That makes more sense if we go Buried Alive into Spaceborne Entity into something that we know is going to stop our opponent, and then it's going to then stop our opponent, and then hopefully they won't get through anything, and then it'll just blow up that ship. We'll just have the combo will just have to go at whatever planet mission has the most number of icons, but this would give us the 20 points that we need, and then this would be the combo that we would stick at. We would stick it at whatever mission we think that the opponent's going to do first. I like that, so let's just go with it. So we're going to go Buried Alive. Buried Alive into Spaceborne Entity. And then we have to figure out what the last thing is. Since it's a dual combo, what we could do is we could just go with Whale. Well, no, we can't. We're not seeding the ability to do Whale Probe. Because we have Temporal Micro Wormhole. We're not seeding Space-Time Portal, we're seeding Temporal Micro Wormhole. So it can't be Whale Probe. We could do, here's an interesting one, we could go with Arsenal Divided. Arsenal Divided would mean that they would have had to have the wherewithal to put a ton of people on the ship, have them be mostly universals. Especially the Arsenal, the space one. The Arsenal, that's the space one. And then, yeah. Arsenal Divided, yep. Divided unique crew members and face on piles when piles stop, then passively staffed and have integrity than 27 remaining. You know, a lot of people, when they face buried alive, they're going to put most of their people on the planet because, you know, that's kind of the generally accepted thing to do. So that feels like it'd be a really great gotcha moment where, you know, here's the thing, you need to split up. If you put a lot of people on the ship, great. You still may not pass Arsenal Divided, depending on who you put on there. And then, if you didn't put a lot of people on there, you're definitively stopped, and you didn't have a way around it. And then that ship's going to get blown up, and then you've got people stranded on a planet, and then you still have to come up with showing up with a ship, and then you're going to have to beat the Arsenal Divided in a way that makes sense. And if we're thinking about doing 4-card combos, 3 4-card combos, we can still put something behind that too. And I think that's what I'm liking. I'm liking this idea of us doing 3 4s, a 3, a 2, and a 1, just because, yeah, it'll help kind of extend some of our combos into much stronger, because we really need to slow down the opponent as much as we can. So, Buried Alive, Spaceport Entity, the Arsenal Divided. And then we come up, and then we could put behind it a planet dilemma. We could put down a planet dilemma. Just like a decently like large planet dilemma. Yeah. You know, a good one could be, a pretty good one is potentially we could actually like lock the mission out with Arsenal. Oh, sorry, with Friendly Fire, even though it's dual, and they'll pick which direction it goes. Arsenal Divided will have thinned out space pretty good, and it may be pretty hard to come up with that. And then if they're doing that, then chances are the planet doesn't have enough people on it, or it's not going to have like those people on it, because they will have committed then to the space. Other option is we could go with Clown, Guillotine. Clown Guillotine would basically do the same thing. It would kind of go in either direction, but it would stop a group pretty significantly. Arsenal Divided, and then of course we could just follow it up with like Founder Secret. Founder Secret would be very difficult to get past, because if you had to commit all those people to Arsenal Divided, then, you know, yeah. Lots of thoughts, lots of decisions. Median Disintegration Protocol, even though it's dual, and they would get to choose which direction it goes, it means that they would have had to put the Arsenal Divided, if they send it space, Arsenal Divided would have had to like, they would have had to get 3 engineers through, and we're going to kill one of them. And if they send it to the planet, it means they would have had the wherewithal to send 3 security to the planet, and we would have gotten to kill one of them. And if they didn't, then we just get a free kill, and it just gets harder. So I kind of like that. It seems counterintuitive, but I almost feel like it's maybe like subtly brilliant. Or maybe it is crazy. You know, so many things. I mean, that's the whole point of what Dilemma is that like you do the best you can to try to create situations, but sometimes it does come down to just a little bit of luck. I mean, I have inadvertently just douched my way through some combos where like I just happen to send exactly the right group, totally at random. You know, there was no skill. It was like these were like the 6 dudes that I could afford to that I could afford to lose, and I send them in, and oh look at that, they were exactly the right people. Yeah, I mean whatever it is we choose here, it cannot have an AU icon on it. If our opponents go space first and we're able to kill them and do whatever else nasty stuff to them, we could send them out that just straight up Founder Secret might be a little hard to get through because they're having trouble finding the people. But if we're going to do that, I kind of feel better about having some kind of a skill requirement. We were thinking, I mean, we were kind of, in the last video, we'd kind of thought about we were going to have just these 2 planets be the only 2 planets. But we could still go back to this idea of doing stuff with Armis. So let's just take a relook at that real fast. What we could do, and this is just a thought, is that we could move one of the Cytherians from the space combo, and we could do Armis. If we went with Armis stuff, we could go Armis Energy Field into Cytherians, following behind the Buried Alive Spaceport entity. But I don't know what else we would do with space then. I guess Beta 12A entity, we could stick that in front of the Arsenal Divided so that, I mean, Spaceport entity is going to blow them up, but, well, Spaceport entity isn't necessarily guaranteed to blow them up anymore. Because if we're not doing, because the whole Spaceport entity is really this kind of like, it's set up by also doing Space Anua. What we could do, here's a thought, this is what we could do. We could do it this way. This is how we're going to do it. I've made the decision. This is what we're going to do. We are going to do Space Amoeba. And we're going to have Ferengi Infestation. Well, no. We could stick with the Arsenal Divided. We could. We could stick with the Arsenal Divided. Because then what would happen is, with the Space Amoeba, is that they would have to divide the unique crew members into 2 face-down piles. One is stopped. Then they would have to have 6 people get through. Guaranteed. Well, but see, that doesn't work. That isn't as good. That just isn't as good. Because, You know, you may actually end up making their math better. Yeah, I don't know if arsenal divided is the right way to go. It just needs to be something where they need to have like a lot of people in whichever direction they go. And that's what I don't like. I don't like, yeah, that's the only thing about it. So it needs to be a wall where the attributes directly are tied. So let's just go wall, planet, exact change. You have to have, they would have to have exactly 10 people on the planet. Is basically how that would read. And then I suppose what if they had lower decks? What would that be then? They'd have to have what, exactly 5? No. 7 doesn't divide into 50. So then lower decks would actually screw them. And, yeah, lower decks would actually screw them. That wouldn't be possible. Unless they got like just a +1 bonus on somebody totally random. But we don't have the ability to see it in AU. It's an interesting thought. Founder Secret would basically say that they need to have a changeling, interface generator, Croton's key, 9 personnel in any tricorder, or, gosh, 15 people. Well, 15 people barring attribute boosts. So then I do kind of like Founder Secret again. Because these two things are never going to happen. It would just be a random, like, oh, they got a changeling. And then bringing CRM is never going to happen either. So I kind of like Founder Secret then. So let's just do that. Founder Secret. And Founder Secret's just kind of good on its own. And the fact is, though, is with the Buried Alive, they're going to have to commit. They're going to have to put at least one person on the ship. So the chances of them having it go down even further, because especially since when you nowadays with Buried Alive, you face Buried Alive, well, if you don't want to lose the ship, they have to basically protect against Jaeger in space. You have to have at least Jaeger at space. That's how you're going to get through that. At least that's what the smart people are doing. Is that you split them up where you can beat Scyther, you can beat Jaeger, in space, and then you just take your Scytherian hit, and that's about it. You know, you beat God on the planet, you beat Jaeger in space. That's how you split them up, and then you just go and see what happens. So there's a planet. So 3 card. We're gonna have the 3 card combo is gonna be the other planet combo, I think, and then we're gonna come up with things to put behind the Scytherians in space. Is what we're gonna do. So a good 3 card combo that I think we'll do is we'll just do we'll just do another Edo Probe combo just to try to force our opponent into our 4 card combos. So we're gonna just we'll do Edo Probe into DNA Clues, into Scientific Method. It's just a classic. You know, it's a classic. It's a classic for a reason. Edo Probe, our opponent most likely abandons. And then DNA Clues is either going to buy us a turn or it's going to be the Scientific Method. fairly difficult to beat. Other thing we could do instead of that is we could just go Edo Probe into Experience Beige, which is probably better. We could just go Edo Probe into Experience Beige. Yeah, let's just do that. And then instead of the scientific method, we can just put misinterpreted history just because, you know, theoretically, if we're killing other people elsewhere, misinterpreted history gets even better than it already is. So that's our 3-card combo. And then here's a 4-card combo planet, and then we're going to go 2 4-card combo space. So we're going to put in 2 more walls for space. Something big, something nasty. Just something that's going to be difficult to deal with, regardless of whether or not people die to crystalline entities. Something that's going to be difficult for them to deal with because the Cytherian's taking a lot of people away because Thaisian powers is going to require at least some decent kind of commitment. And so typically I like Maglock then, because Maglock, it requires 3 of something, and then that something has its own sub-requirement, so Maglock has always been pretty good for that. Even if you're not setting it up with Officer Drain, it still tends to be pretty good. And we can do 2 different things, so let's do one of them as Maglock. And then let's see if we can find something else that's maybe a little bit more interesting. It goes to Cyrus Ramsey, you know, just because it's good. I think it's the Ghost of Cyrus Ramsey. All right, and then we need Dead End. Did we put that in already? No, Dead End is not in here yet. Bang, and then we'll go with why do I feel like my math is not working out here? What am I missing? Oh, that's right. It's the copy of, I was like, what is it that my mind is like this forgetting right now? Oh yeah, it's our copy of the Nexus and what we're gonna do with it. So what we could do is we could just put the Nexus in front of the Edo Pro Beige, so that, I mean, we're gonna have opponents that are gonna be like a little. Well, we could also put the Edo Probe in front of the Dead End and have the Experience Beige be the thing that's off by itself, because then our opponent has to run through. Most likely is going to have to run through 2 different 4-card combos theoretically before they can come back and try to beat this. Because the thing is, though, is that Dead End is better. Well, yeah. I think it's Dead End by itself, and it would be okay. Okay. And it would be Dead End off by itself. It'll be Nexus Edo Pro Beige, and then as our 2-card dual, as a 2-card combo, we can have Misinterpreted History with, yeah. It has to be a dual dilemma here. It just has to be a dual dilemma just because our space combos are set, and our planet, well, no, it could be planet. It could be a planet dilemma. We could do some kind of planet in front of misinterpreted history if we wanted to. I kind of like the idea of we could run one of the, oh, we could run Dicronium Cloud Creature right there. Because, or we could run Dicronium Cloud Creature in front of the Experience Beige. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. It really is the Nexus that's kind of messing us up a little bit. But we could just run the Nexus as a self-seed, and then we could just go 4-card combo, 4-card combo, 4-card combo, 3-card combo, and a pair of ones, and then we just are basically like, okay, one of them's dead end, one of them is Experience Beige. We set them on the opposite side, we set them like, on the ends of the space line. The opponent doesn't know which end of the space line is getting which, so they don't know if they're gonna go all the way over just to face a dead end, or if they're gonna go all the way over and find an Experience Beige. We would put the dead end at whichever end we think they're gonna be close. They're gonna start on, and then we put the Beige on the far one, and then we just self-seed the Nexus at our own space mission, or once again we would self-seed the Nexus at our space mission, because we assume that our insurrection is going to get dead end, and so we go trigger the Nexus early so we get Toy and Soren in there sooner. They were on time, basically. I don't know. Misinterpreted history could theoretically hold up pretty well. If we do that, though, if we're gonna self-seed the Nexus, then I don't like Edo Probe anymore, because then what we should do is we should ditch the Edo Probe for some kind of, you know what? I think that's what I want to do. Let's do it that way. And what we should do then is we should have the misinterpreted history be let in by things that kill and linger and kill. So the Salt Creature and a yeah, the Salt Creature for sure. So okay, let's do this. Kills on a planet. I'm just blanking on it right now. Not Horta. I believe Horta kills immediately. Yeah, now an end of every player's turn kills one of that player's personnel present. So we can do that. Let's go with the Horta. So M113 creature and Horta in front of a misinterpreted history. Yeah, let's do it. I like it. So, M113 creature. Okay. Yep, M113 creature, and then a Horta. And I think we're going to go, and then we are going to just self-seed the Nexus for the funsies. And then all we have to do is come back to what that last mission to be. So let's just take a look at space missions. And then I think we'll pretty much have a deck. Alright, so mission, just Alpha Quadrant. See if anything just jumps out at us. Any space mission that does something interesting. And then hopefully, we would ideally have be something we could attempt. But because again, the other reason why we need it to be space is because of the fact that then that way, we drastically increase our likelihood that we get our space mission next to our insurrection, or at least close enough to it that it's just one mission away. I think for that reason, we may have to just stick to what are the missions that we can actually attempt, and not get too cute. And then preferably 35 points. Preferably 35 points. What does the Amagorosa Observatory do again? Download a trilithium weapon. I'm wondering if we're gonna commit to this idea that like we get Tully and Soren, we get Tully and Soren, we just put him aboard. Change the direction of the Nexus and then download the trilithium weapon as if earned. And then if, because like, I mean, this mission right here, practice orbital maneuver, is just hilarious if we can just flip it around and turn it into that mission. That's kind of funny. So we are kind of open, like we can open up to missions that are like, we could theoretically, then we could just find a way to put stick trilithium weapon into the deck, which is not hard. So an asymmetric mission. Just for the lulz of it. It's not something that we would be required to do. It's not something that we would have to do in order to like win the game, But I mean, vanquish enemy. We could run it. I don't really like it because our opponent can like, they can flip on us if they really want to, if they have it. Yeah. I don't think that we're going to be able to find anything that's like overly interesting. It's like analyze radiation. We can't attempt it. And not even flipping it around helps us with that. Helps us attempt it. And of course, with our deck list, our intelligence is 4. I mean, we do have Orion syndicates. We have all those girls. So I suppose assemble fleet is a legitimate mission for us. Officer and leadership are super easy. Treachery times 2 is laughable. And we do have 4 copies of intelligence in the deck. And so, this might be a thing. I mean, and of course we have Vina who can select any skill. So that's 5. Kamala can select any skill. That's 6. That's interesting. This could be our sort of fun little flavor mission. Here's a question for the world. Why is this not 23rd century mission? Oh, it's 20. I'm sorry. Because it's 22nd century. Duh. All right. Long day, everyone. So assemble fleet seems very interesting then. Just as a mission, your opponent's not necessarily gonna see being a thing. Yeah, I kind of like it. That can be our weird little flavor mission. Little little bit of weirdness. Let's do this though. Okay, so is there? Okay, so mission. Okay, let's do this. Mission trait, asymmetric. Are there any asymmetric missions that we can do? Why is break prisoner? Oh, because you get a bonus. You get the bonus. They just get the guaranteed 35. Okay. You would do it just to guarantee the 35, right? We wouldn't want to flip this one around. Yeah. Not a thing. Getting this little benefit is like so incidental. It's so completely pathetically incidental. Historical research is stealable no matter which way you face it. And then flipping it around gives you no benefit. We could theoretically rotate inspect strategic snare. we could theoretically rotate inspect strategic snare so that only a Romulan opponent could steal it. But that doesn't really seem like it's worth doing. Plus 5 points if you have a captive. We're not capturing anything. So, you know, and this is in the Gamma Quadrant. And your crystalline entity here is doubled. Now that's interesting. When you solve, you may download an Android here. Oh wait, but see the thing is that text doesn't even affect us at all. That text just doesn't even affect us. Because we would not want our crystalline entity to be doubled at our mission, because it doesn't matter, We're not facing it here, it doesn't matter, because it's your crystalline entity here. Here. If it was just your crystalline entity is doubled, that would be amazing, because we could double it again. It doesn't work that way. When you saw we may download an Android here, we're not doing this mission, so this is not the planet mission we're gonna do, so. Again, it's another planet mission. It's not doing anything for us. Planets. Like, practice orbital maneuvers is like the only thing that matters. This is Ferengi, so we can't attempt it. Raid ancient burial site. The only thing that rotating it does is nothing. Can't attempt either side. Mirror quadrant. Sorry, this is alpha. This is the alpha quadrant one, isn't it? Rotating doesn't do anything. Salvage operation. I don't understand what's Oh, we lose the salvage starship. It's Delta Quadrant anyways, doesn't matter. Delta Quadrant. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. So, future note for a Dominion deck, so I'm going to put this in the old brain file. We could seed this mission, do the whole Amargosa Observatory thing. So if we played like Dominion not aligned with this whole, you know, tech of downloading Tolian Sorin with recruit mercenaries and stuff, we could then actually get our Dominion battleships to report here, to report to that mission. Not with crew, but, you know, yeah. Anywho, and the old, put that in the old super, put that in the back of the file cabinet on that one. So yeah, there's just nothing happening here. There's nothing happened with that, so there's just no reason to mess with that. Because the trilithium weapon, the only thing it does is, you know, rotate a mission. I wish it. We need more asymmetric missions in the game then for this to become a thing. I feel like this is a thing that should be a thing. You know, it's just fun. You know, it's not going to break a game unless you make this unless you make one side of an asymmetric mission broken. In which case, if you're doing that, then you know that's your own fault. Trilithium weapon's not broke, so no to any of the designers that are watching. Make more asymmetric missions. Okay. So we settled on oh gosh, what was it that we settled on again? Blanket on it. This fleet something. Oops. Like observed fleet or whatever nonsense it was. Oh, I still have like asymmetric mission selected, don't I? That's why it's not doing it for me. Okay. Yeah, assemble fleet. We'll do assemble fleet. Bang. All right. We have a deck. We have 6 missions. We got our 30 seed cards, our 13 10 slots, battle bridge, our draw deck, our outside the game seed phase downloads, I believe. We're self-seeding a Meltonian brain teaser. Nothing else gets downloaded during the seed phase. Shellyax our target, Amargosa from the mission, these guys from the preserver. I think we're good to go. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So refresh it. Export it to Lackey. Copy. Paste. Let's title it Coach Jaeger Not Aligned. Okie dokie. Let's go into Lackey. And again, our stupid little trick to make this dumb program work run as an administrator.
Welcome to Lackey.
All right. Browse. Coach Jaeger down the line. Choose it. Cool. That's just for my own setting up the game, ease of setting up the game. And we'll stick the Otonian brain teaser in there as well. Okay. Because again, the Nexus we're gonna self-seed the Nexus, so we're gonna run 17 dilemmas, and we're gonna be kind of weird about it. All right. Bang. Okay. Alrighty. So go to owner. Shuffle that. Go to owner. Those are in the remove section. Shuffle that. Okay. So we would seed the Q's tent. We would seed a temporal micro wormhole. We would seed a battle bridge door. Yeah. Then we would do missions. Pick one at random. Okay, okay, so we get the Amargosa Observatory immediately. We'll then just assume that an opponent puts a mission on one side. We get Intercept Dignitary, we would interlace them. Because again, we're trying to 2-mission win, so it is mostly to our advantage to basically interlace any Alpha Quadrant opponent. And then let's assume that since that's a 3 and that's a 4, most opponents would then, I think a lot of opponents would then put their next mission on this side. That's not correct. What the hell is that? That's supposed to be assemble fleet. Is it wrong in the deck builder? It is. It is, it is, it is. I must have clicked wrong somehow. Alright, mission. Apparently I clicked a little too fast. Or something, I don't know. Ah, see, did it again. Symbol fleet. Man, that is weird. Weird. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, so we got it. Yeah. We're not messing around. We know this is a simple fleet. So, continue to interlace the opponent. A simple fleet is a 3-span mission, so chances are they just continue. They may just do that, and then we get observe stellar rebirth. Continue to interlace them. Then we get examine morality. Opponent may go the other direction just to kind of balance things out. If they did that, we would actually do this. No, we wouldn't. We would just do that. It's fine. And then if the opponent goes this direction, then we get this. And that's our reason for doing it. So that's just kind of a theoretical, very extremely theoretical situation. And then we'll just double check then this is where we double check our combos to make sure our combos are what we think they are. So we have a planet combo that is M13 creature, into a Horta, into a Misinterpreted History. That's Planet Combo 1. Planet Combo 2 is Buried Alive, into Spaceborne Entity, into Space Amoeba, into Founder Secret. Then we have a dual. Then we have just a dual combo of an Experienced Beige, a dual combo of a Dead End, and then we have our space combos. That is Thasian Powers, leading into Cytheria, or sorry, leading into Crystalline Entities, leading into Cytherians. And then we follow it up with a couple of walls. If this is the way that the space line came out, we would put the Experienced Beige here. And then, you know, then of course these combos would go slot in where they would need to slot in, and then the dead end would hopefully be as close to the end of the space line as possible. But let's assume that, you know, they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's assume that we have to put the dead end here, and then we'd actually possibly want to put the 3-card combo there, and then there's a very statistically high probability that the spaces are somewhere here in the middle. If our opponent's running just 2 space and 4 planet, then the space dilemmas just go wherever the space dilemmas go, and then we would possibly have to stick the Experienced Beige here. Which we wouldn't like, but that's the breaks. A lot of opponents are running 3 and 3 these days, just to give themselves all maximum flexibility. So, you know, we can assume that this is kind of a likelihood scenario. It's a highly probable scenario. So, all right, so that does work out. And then we would self-seed our Otonian Brain Teaser here, self-seed our Nexus here. All right. We get our neutral outpost here, our space door here, Sona Observatory here, duck blind at that location. Well, first off, I think we would seed the Obsession. And then most opponents are going to just put most opponents are going to put Shellyak right there. Thinking that this is maybe where we're going to start, and then it'll get away, it may like move away from us too quickly before we can do anything about it, which would kind of be the smart thing. So in playtesting, it's best to just, in fish bowling, it's best to assume a smart opponent who is going to inadvertently do exactly the thing you don't want them to do. And then we have War Council on the neutral outpost. And then we preserve our Obelisk in our dudes. And then, last but not least, Cybernetics Expertise. So let's get all this stuff over here. All right. Okay. See how she draws. Not great, that's for sure. So we get a Sona card for free. So it's going to be a Sona Battleship. We're going to get... Let's get a free civilian here. No Baku. Yep, no Baku. And then card plays the ship. Yeah, we weren't finding. Yeah, we weren't. We got shuffle hosed. Yeah, look at this. Look at this nonsense, right? This is why Lackey is garbage. This is why Lackey Shuffler is total garbage. Flaxian Scout Vessel. And then we'll go ahead and just download, because we did not get an Anthropology to play for free. We will get Gallatin, as promised. And then we'll just simply fly the Flaxian Scout Vessel over. And we assume that our opponent's kind of in this area of the board, so we're not worried about being attacked or anything like that. So we would just probably put everyone on the planet. We'll download our space-time portal. And we can have Yint just grab us our gun right now. And then, yeah, unfortunately, we would simply draw 2. Okay. I think we would actually leave them behind, is what we would do. We would have just Yarnak run over. Because we would see that the War Council is in our hand and we need to get like our 4 treachery together. And so I think what we would actually do... But he doesn't play for free anyway. None of these dudes play for free right now. So yeah, maybe we would just put them all together for right now. Because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up just downloading Gallatin. So, oh, sorry, Ruafo. So I think we basically just get a free play here, and then a card play of... We might also do our Vosh card play now, because we can. Reveal to owner all, we look at Ruafo. Where are you at, jerk? Alright. Ruafo. Injector Assembly 1. Collect metaphysic particles. And then, again, in most likely scenario, what we can do is we would actually just fly the Flaxian Scout Vessel. Actually, what we would do is we would fly the Sona Battleship over, grab these 2 people, fly back. Yeah, and then pretty much fly back. All these ships are at that mission, and then we would probably just assume that we're going to be facing a dead end. So what we would do is we would probably just attempt, because we're not really worried about, you know, We're in kind of a bind right now, and so, I mean, realistically speaking, we're in kind of like a bit of a bind with what we've got. We've got a frame disruptor rifle that we can use to protect against a Deneman, if that was really something that we were terribly worried about. But we really only need to attempt with 3 people, and we have plenty of ships in orbit. So if we were really concerned, what we would do is we would just beam up Ruafo and Excalbi in green. But if we face God, we're totally boned no matter what. So, you know, I don't think we would face God. I think it's just going to be like, okay, we're going to bounce off a dead end, or we're going to bounce off some kind of qualifying wall. And so I like the idea of just putting those 2 guys. We put those 2 guys in space on the Flaxian scout vessel, and we would fly them to here. And then we would have Injector Assembly 1. We would just have Yint fly Injector Assembly 1 and dock over and dock it. And then we would just attempt with these 4 dudes. And even if one of them dies, we're still going to end up having double anthropology at the end of turn. So, yep. That's what I'd probably do. Bounce off a... And we would probably just bounce off a dead end, is most likely what would happen. And then we would draw 2 to end the turn. And then we would finally... get that. And of course, Vosh isn't in the right place yet. So, okay. So we would get a turn 3. We would get a free play Sarda. We would recruit mercenaries as the card play, so that we can get our Roger Corby into play. So the more I'm thinking about this, the more I think that this is the thing that we would do. We would actually put the Eltonian Brain Teaser underneath the space mission here. We would just do a double seed this way. Have this be the mission. Because we're not worried about where we lose the points for the recruit mercenaries is wherever it is that we think that we're going to need to, you know, be reporting a lot of people. Since we can't report most of our people to Sona Observatory, we have so much treachery in the deck, and of course the Flaxian Scout Vessel is going to basically, you know, yeah, Flaxian Scout Vessel is going to have the ability for 2 out of our 4 space missions, and then of course any 3s that our opponent would have most likely. The Flaxian Scout Vessel, it has 8 range. Flaxian Scout Vessel has 8 range. What was I thinking? I thought I had 7. Oh, that's me being dumb. Okay. Yeah, this is not even a question anymore. We're like 95% chance to be able to have the Flaxian Scout Vessel fly over, drop off the 2 anthropology, leave, and then like literally leave treachery behind at the space mission. The only time that we would need to see the Eltonian Brain Teaser at Insurrection is if we have to see the neutral outpost at the opponent's space mission. In the situations where we get our own space mission next to it, this is the better play. Alright. So that's how we're going to kind of fishbowl it, is we're going to assume that we're just downloading Corby to that location. And then also getting, as we said before, Shobihar. That allows us then to free play Kirk Android. We are basically a turn behind on everything, but that's okay. We're a little bit behind, but it's smoothing itself out. Yeah. And then, of course, we would be able to have the Flaxian Scout Vessel. We would just leave Yarnik and Vosh to draw with Duckblind. And we would have these guys get on board. Flaxian Scout Vessel, fly back. And of course, the Shellyak has been. Shelyak's gone. So this is where this whole plan isn't necessarily the best. These are the things that we learn, you know. Doesn't have youth, doesn't have youth, doesn't have youth. Nobody's got youth. Yet. So let's see here. My turn, opponent's turn. We'll assume my turn, opponent's turn. Here. My turn again, and then we'll assume opponent's turn. And then we'll get to my, this will be then my turn. So what we would have to do then in this kind of a situation, oops, is probably get on board injector assembly 1 and fly back, and then put Gallatin, the Traveler, sorry, Ruafo, the Traveler, and Shobihar onto this on a battleship. Yeah. I think the alternative on the strategy here is that maybe we don't care as much about duck blind immediately, and we would actually flip for the Sona battleship, because we would assume that it would move the Shellyak would move to here at the end of, if the opponent goes, if we went first, it's going to be here on our second turn, and if it's the opponent went first, it's actually just sitting on top of us on our first turn. We could flip for Sona battleship. We just get any leader. You get any leader. And then we would just basically be able to just go ahead and have the Sona battleship fire on the Shellyak. And we would have to hope that we hit. We would have to hope that we drew into one of the ancillary bursts, which is of course 60% chance on any given draw. It's a 60% chance on any given draw, and becomes like what, 84% on the second card draw. So we would be pretty good. And this is of course assuming that we would not be able to just, like, you know, I don't know, have a better go of it. These are all strategy considerations. This deck is not, as we're very quickly learning, this deck is not like cookie cutter ABC. It's very much, you're going to have to make a lot of like decisions as you go. Those first couple of turns are not necessarily going to be as easy to do as at first blush, because of the fact that Obsession, the opponent will get to choose where it goes. And if the opponent's in a different quadrant, we're not getting it, period. They're going to stick it in a different quadrant, and we're not getting it at all. Which is definitely the other reason why we definitely need to have like the Nexus Sorin thing be, Nexus Sorin be a thing. But this deck is basically, if Obsession doesn't go off in the alpha quadrant. If it's going off, and if we have a delta quadrant opponent, then this is a 3-mission deck. So, as such, it makes me wonder if Obsession's not the thing to do. If we shouldn't just be seeding, we could possibly just go ahead and seed a Barclay's Protomorphosis disease for 10 points, or we could seed quite a coincidence for 10 points. And then just do Tully and Soren. Have our 2-mission would be Tully and Soren, and yeah, our 2-mission would be Tully and Soren, and then quite a coincidence. Or Barclay's Protomorphosis disease, self-seeded under Insurrection. Interesting. I'm kind of feeling like that's maybe the way we're supposed to do it. So, but going to a straight 3-mission win isn't necessarily like the worst thing in the world, you know? It's truly not the worst thing in the world. So, but it does make it more reliable if we get off the Obsession. And to be perfectly honest, the only thing the Obsession was getting us besides that was just the quantum slipstream drives for free, and that's not that big of a deal. It truly isn't. I mean, because we kind of have, you know, we've got our Traveler tech, and the Traveler only works on the same spaceline. From one spaceline location to any other spaceline location. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure the rule is it still has to be like the same spaceline. So he can't move from alpha quadrant to delta quadrant. He has to be alpha quadrant to alpha quadrant. The beauty of the Traveler is that he works with Tully and Soren. As long as we get that youth, that's how we get Tully and Soren into the Nexus faster. I think I like that idea better. We can still stick with, excuse me, we can still stick with these combos because they're still fun, still good. And then there's always the strong possibility that we have an opponent that's going to stick a Cytherians underneath our space mission. So I think I like that idea. So let's just bomb the Obsession out of the deck. Let's just get out, just get rid of it. It's no good, and we're just going to replace it with another self-seed. We're just going to self-seed a Barclay's Protomorphosis disease, and then just have to remember that, you know, we may end up having 3 self-seeds under Insurrection. Oh, hilarious. Because the thing is, though, that Autonian Brain Teaser just stomps the most cunning personnel, so as long as we have science, security, and medical not on our most cunning personnel, and we would, of course, actually, no, forget that. We would see this so that we would face the Barclay's Protomorphosis disease first. We would just beat the Barclay's Proto, hit the Eltornian Brain Teaser, nuke all the points or whatever, and then, and then of course Nexus to basically, like, you know, the far end of the Nexus flies over, starts at the other end, or the opposite end. And we, of course, we would have total control over the Nexus because of the fact that we would try not to ever face it until we were ready to do all that. So I think that's the plan then. We'll just, that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Sheliak gone. And Obsession gone. And we'll put in a Barclay's Protomorphosis disease for a self-seeded 10 points. Oops. Put it in the draw deck. So I think that's how we're going to do it. You know, it would have been nice. It would be nice if I was to make a more competitive version of this deck, one that wasn't so kind of quick and dirty, one that I could sit there and massage over and over again. I think I would try to get Tribunal into the deck so that we would have access to Mazaka, or we would just straight up seed Obelisk of Mazaka into the deck. So, you know, that's a thought as well. We would also in this situation right here, we'd also be getting Intuition into the table. And probably get a card draw. The important thing is, though, is that it feels like we would be getting personnel out at a clip that is expected. It didn't feel like we were struggle busing personnel. It's just that the first couple of turns of this deck are going to end up being just very particular. A person's going to, I mean, now that we've gotten rid of this, like, that cleans it all up significantly, I think. That just cleans it up. Like, let's just get rid of this. We no longer have to worry about, like, where the missions come out and stuff, and we can just stick with the Sona, you know, the Flaxine Scout Vessel being what we go get, just so that we can get our card draw engine going, and then, you know, it's then a ship that can attempt space when we're ready to with whoever we want to. It's great to be able to, because we're running with this Q-stand, we get this solo attempt with one person. You can do that right away just to see what's there, you know. So that's pretty good. But yeah, we're gonna have basically 3 self seeds to turn this into a 2-mission win deck. Atonian's necessary because we're making this all go, but Tolian Sorin and Barclay's Proto, and then just doing one of our 3 35-point missions, and conduct stellar research. Is kind of a bit of a throwaway mission because we don't really want to do it. We really don't want to do it if we don't have to. It would be better to have a 35-point mission, but this is a little bit of a hedge in case, like, for whatever reason, the Nexus gets away from us somehow. I don't know how that would happen, but you never know, I guess. If it's a shortened space line, it's hard to say what might happen. But it's pretty clear that our first hit on recruit mercenaries is exactly Roger Corby and Shobi Har, and then a second one is basically going to have to be some kind of combination of Tolian Sorin, the Traveler, yeah, and what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5, and then of course, like Vina or Morris There's another 2-pointer. And then if we get either the Traveler or Tolian Sorin, then that opens things up pretty significantly. So say if we, like in this game, we got the Traveler, then we can do actually just do Tolian Sorin for 4. And Rook's a pretty good one. Nearest is really good. You know, as a matter of fact, instead of like being on them, that's what I would probably do. I would probably be like, okay, Traveler, Tolian Sorin, Nearest, just to kind of buy more cards. But other than Nearest, I mean, Venus skill tanking is pretty good. But realistically, though, if you get the Traveler and you get the Traveler and Tolian Sorin early, like in those first couple of turns, then Lore becomes the target. The thing about Lore is that since we're choosing to do crystalline entities for the lulz, you know, yeah, it might just be giving up a free 5 points with no effect, but you know, this isn't meant to be a hyper competitive deck, so you do what you do. But yeah, I think we've got a finalized version. Then I feel like this is gonna work kind of the way it is. Then our opening 7 was pretty harsh. Double War Council, no Recruit Mercenaries, our 1 card play instead of a free play, no Gallatin, no Ruafo. Pretty harsh. So it's always good to see how bad your deck's gonna do. So anywho, I believe, well, that's the video. Like I said, these will be posted, and then Snack Trek is gonna post their gameplay of the video on the same day. So look for all 3 videos all at the same time. I hope you enjoy all 3 of them, but you're definitely gonna want to watch them. Deck building video 1, then this video 2, so you can kind of see where the deck is supposed to go, and then you'll watch Snack Trek. You'll watch Snack Trek play the deck. So, anyway, thanks so much for watching. May the profits be with you.